All right, on the hourly chart, we just had a decent run up near the midpoint of this large imbalance. 1 minute chart looked like a turtle soup setup. High, higher high, rolled over. So then on the 15-second chart, I placed an entry on this small fair value gap where this displaced lower below this consolidation point. Now we will see if it will continue lower or if it's going to spike up and stop me out like it did back here. We had that higher high. I was thinking it was going to continue higher off of this suspension gap, went long here, had at most 10 points, probably less, and then rolled back over for half an hour before making this nice run up on the 5-minute chart. Pick one. This was the high had placed the trade on. This was the pullback afterwards, and then the run up. This also is the midpoint of the lunch session. And almost hit the opening range gap from Thursday. 4-hour chart. No, Friday. Monday, holiday. Futures were still running. Almost hit it. 15-second chart. Looks like it's going to run higher and hit that stop loss. Just a little spike up to scare all of us newbies. Little drop. Back up into the suspension block. This spike could enter on this suspension block or the very top end of that one, or off of this order block. Confirmed there, or this inversion order block confirmed there. This would give you a tighter stop loss. All right, move the stop loss to break even, just above the high of a 1 minute fair value gap. Another partial just below this minor sell side level. And I'll let number 3 run and see how far it will go. Contract number 2, 40 points. Contract number 1, almost 20 points. I placed this one near 675 because that would be 20 points from the low of this 1 minute suspension block fair value gap compared to my actual entry. That was 5 points lower. S&P versus NASDAQ. Same formations. S&P showing more strength on the run up, making a higher high more noticeable. 5 minute and 15 minute charts. New week opening gap. Also aggressive run up, expect a aggressive run back down. Drop into fair value gap with volume imbalance. Little wick. And should continue lower. 3 a.m. macro runs. 3:30 price movement. Approaching 4 a.m. macro. Tonight's first trade brought the account back down to break even. Exit 1, exit 2. Choking the trade a little bit, but this one does not have a lot of long-term planning behind it. So I'm not going to risk giving very much back. Using the 1-minute trail stop method, I believe it would have already stopped me out. But I like to wait for it to make a new low before ratcheting the stop all the way to the most recent 1-minute candle. If this candle moves a bit lower and closes, then I'll bring my stop down to here. Even if it does continue lower, at this point I'm expecting it to wick up and hit that stop loss before continuing. But there's a chance it surprises me and it doesn't do that. All right, I'd stepped away from the screen during this drop, so I didn't ratchet the stop loss down like I would have. Otherwise, I would have been stopped out somewhere down here instead of over here, back up at my original level. But made up for the losing trade and added almost 1% into the account. So far, decent night, especially considering I don't feel overly confident tonight. More of a forcing myself to go through the motions. All right, stepped away from dinner, had slight pullback, entries longs, running up into midpoint of the hour wick right here. Okay, brief technical difficulties, monitors disconnected. All right, so stepped away during that drop, stopped out on this run up. Should have had my stop loss down here, but I was gone, so I got stopped out up here. And all through here, you would have been looking for scalps long, if anything. You're approaching the 5 a.m. macro. More than likely, you'd be sitting out waiting for a major displacement. Hourly chart ran up to the wick, mid-level of the wick here, right here, respecting it so far, into the 5 a.m. macro now. Next few hours, we'll spend some time with girlfriend and come back at 7 a.m. Seeing if anything sets up for the 5 a.m. macro before that. All right, quick recap of tonight's session. 6 p.m. open. We run up. We get into the high of Monday's opening range gap. You can see that on the hourly chart. And we roll over. So back on the 1 minute. Here's the high. Consolidation. 5 minute suspension block on the upside forms here. 5 minute fair value gap forms here. Entry number 1. If you use this for confirmation, then here's your other entry using a 1 minute fair value gap or an order block or inversion rejection block. Break down into a long consolidation period. All of this. This you could take as a short entry, which is this wick right here on the 5 minute chart, fair value gap, short. Target 20 points. You'd be out right here. trail stop down towards the lows. Nice little trade there. Get into midnight. Still not great. Inside this big consolidation period. You could do drills in here or scalps, but low probability conditions. Break to the upside, form relative equal highs, pull back, small breakaway gap. Inversion fair value gap, suspension block. Which could be used here. Fair value gap here. Fair value gap in here. Suspension block here. Stays out of the lower quadrant. Forms another relative equal high, still lower than this high. You get your larger pullback. Then your nice large run up. We're going into the 3 a.m. macro. Here's where I had my nice little short. Three a.m. macro run up. Short entry. Profit, profit, stop loss, profit zone, and dawdling into the 5 a.m. macro.